I'm Mike Avila with SYFY WIRE, and I'm joined now by Todd McFarlane, who has some news for us on the long-awaited new Spawn movie.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was 20 years ago the first one came out, right? And I've been sort of teasing people, saying, no, we'll get to another one, we'll get to another one. And then eventually I said, well, I'm writing the script, and then that took forever because I have my other corporations and businesses.
You're
and
kind
art
of a busy guy,
right? And you know, and so in February I went, oh, the script's finally done, right? So again, at least now I've got something I can take into Hollywood and sort of say, hey, is anybody interested in this? And by the way, it comes with a caveat. I write, produce, direct, right? So other than that, if you guys can take that, then we've got a conversation. So they all want, well, where's the script? I didn't really get much pushback because I wrote, you know, sort of a tight budgeted movie that they weren't going to sort of get too excited that, you know, they were going to give a lot of money to a neophyte director. But the announcement we made today, I found my producer. So for any of your sort of listeners out there that like movies like Paranormal Activity or The Purge or Insidious and recently Split, that was the '1 movie for 3 weeks in a row, and then Jordan Peele's Get Out, right? That was a big hit that caught all Hollywood by surprise because it was made for $4.5 million and it made hundreds of millions globally. The one thing that's in common of all 5 of those things is a production house of all of them, a production house called Blumhouse. It's run by a gentleman named Jason Blum. And so Jason and I just signed the deal, you know, a couple days ago. So if you like those scary movies, those creepy little R-rated movies, which is what Spawn's going to be, then hopefully you'll like it because I've got the right guy that brings the right sensibilities on to help a guy like me who's going to be making his directorial debut.
So that answers my next question, which is you're still set to direct.
Yeah, that was never. I have directed it so many times in my head over the last 10, 12 years that it's like by the time I explained it, if you were the director, by the time I explained it to you, I could just shoot it myself, right? So the one thing that won't happen is I won't be indecisive because I already have all the shots in my head, right? I can do all the storyboards myself. I can tell everybody what to do.
Clearly, you know the character,
right? But you know the big news hurdle that we just announced, you know, literally hours ago, was just to go. We're taking it from the theoretical. It's now real, right? We've got the script. The finances come along, and we've got the producer. We'll tighten up the script a little bit better. Go and hook our actors, and then at that point, then we'll worry about making a deal with Hollywood, and then we'll be able to sort of announce, you know, sort of release dates and whatever else.
But do you have a targeted date for production?
You know, for me, you know, again, it's a little ambitious, but I'd like to get behind the camera by January 1st, and let's go, right? Shoot it and get it ready and have it ready for eyeball, you know, later in the year of 2018.
Blumhouse seems like the perfect partner for this because, one, they specialize in horror, but they specialize in low-budget horror movies with great hooks.
And he's worked with first-time directors too, all the above, right?
So, how long have you been talking to Jason and his company about doing something?
Well, you know, once I sort of said out loud on Facebook, and my script was done, I started getting phone calls from a lot of people, right? And so I've been talking to various people, different producers and stuff. Jason was, you know, one of the most enthusiastic, and he's a bit of a geek, right? You know, again, so he's like, oh, I know Spawn, and he was sort of fluent in it.
Always helps. Always helps.
Yeah. But and again, it's not a small thing you just said that you would think that the easiest thing to do is to make quote unquote a low budget movie, right? That's actually harder than people imagine, right? The studios, for the most part, you go to them, they go, we can't make anything for under 22. Because they just have an overhead and they can't get there, right? And it's just sort of silly cost. Jason's made a career out of just pushing these kinds of movies. Everyone hasn't been a home run, but he's created some big franchises with some talented people, you know, with Paranormal Activity and The Purge that have gone on. And we've seen before that things like Saw, the Saw franchise, not that he was involved, but that the model is there, that you can do it. Mine isn't a horror flick. To me, it's more, I'd call it like a dark supernatural thriller. But if it works, and the way to make it work is you don't spend a lot of money, then you can get to your next one quickly. You don't have to worry about years going by in the big studio sort of development hell, if you will. So we're gonna get it going. We're gonna have some fun, and if you don't stick your neck out too far, both in an economic way and in a risk pool way, then you don't need as much success for it to actually have worked, and you can do another one, right? You spend $100 million, you need to get a minimum of $200 million back because you only get half that cash to get break even, And so, but if you do something in 10, 12, 15, $20 million, then globally you've only got to get to 40 million, 60 million, and all of a sudden it's a home run, right? So here's what I know. Here's the math. The math says that the first Spawn movie 20 years ago opened up to just under 20 million. In today's dollars, adjusted for today's dollars, it's just under 40 million. So if we get even half that amount, and it's hard for me to imagine how we're going to get half after 20 more years of the brand getting strong, that it's still a $20 million opening on a $10 million budget movie. But what if we get the same amount? Then you've got a $40 million opening on a $10 million budget. And what if the distributors actually do their marketing chops and can do more than that? Who knows? I mean, it's to me, this is low-hanging fruit. I have a lot of ideas, and I can't say with the same confidence that they'll all work. This one's a no-brainer. This one, if you keep it tight, right? If you put $10 million out, it's near impossible not to make it back.
You've been talking about the movie and trying to get it made for years and years.
Yep.
Is it a relief to be able to, over concrete info, hey, I got a producer, a big next step towards
it's weird because I think when you're sort of in my shoes, you're always thinking 3 steps ahead. So my brain's 3 steps ahead. I'm thinking about where we're going to shoot with it, who we're going to have acting. Some of the character turns, some of the I'm trying to figure out some of the special effects, how that we can make all that work. But getting the producing, I mean, there's things you have to do, right? You have to get production, you have to get money, you have to get actors, you have to get distribution, then you go to the marketing, and then you have to get your screens. I mean, all that sort of goes in an order. So today was a practical announcement, but my brain is still going, I'm 6 months ahead going, what do I need to do when we get to that point?
Thanks for filling us in on the movie.
Yeah, thanks
Good luck with the moving forward.
Yeah, I appreciate it.